Welcome back. This is Krawler Kingdom. I'm Jesse. King Ding here as far as the Jeep goes. And I'm going to go ahead and work on today on something that I've had in my possession, just haven't installed probably for over a year. Having to do with smoking when on a great incline. JKs are pretty notorious for it. I think JLs do the same thing because it's the same 3.6. But if you get stuck on a steep incline for a certain amount of time, you're inevitably going to start smoking yourself out. If not when you're just idling there, but when you try to hit the gas again and come out of it. So I'm going to show you the product that I picked up that's supposed to help with that. I've been under the weather, so I sound funny, but we are really close to Winter Jamboree out here in Utah. And today is kind of the real first snow day. The only other snow day we had was like Thanksgiving or something like that. So let's get after it. Here is the product that I got. I got dust on the box and everything because it's been sitting up in my office the last while. Let's see what we got here. The Teraflex JK Vent System Kit. Anyways, it's meant to go ahead and add a different PCV valve, a second one in there. So that way when you're at an incline, it doesn't jack you up. Essentially, from looking at the instructions, Teraflex has a pretty good video. I'll probably use it to follow it. But this vent case line right here, you're going to cut it like here and have two lines routed to a different one that's going to be mounted on this side of the throttle body. And then there's a vent that replaces this oil filler neck right here. Anyways, that's essentially all that's happening. Let's go ahead and walk through what's what. I don't know, dude. I'm just doing this for me anyways. Again, you can watch the Teraflex video. I made this one because, hey, you know, why not see somebody practically try to do it? And I'm going to do it. Man, that's kind of what I do. So, parts list here. The newer ones might look a little different. I thought on the website when I rechecked that these are now black. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, so that crankcase bracket, whatever, boom, I got it sitting right there. All this stuff came in a Ziploc baggie. We're good on that, right? Trying to figure out these hoses. These are all supposed to be the same size. They're close enough, right? So they're the number 6 here. I don't know if you can see it. Anyways, reference back to this. And then how I was able to tell the difference, because this one's supposedly the same length, is the outside diameter. Can't even talk. 0.615 versus 0.8, right? The 0.8 is going to be the threaded one on the outside. This looks like hydraulic line because it's got 300 PSI on it as far as the rating goes. So these two get used together. Zip ties, all that stuff. Blah, blah, blah. So you should have 4 of these about 3 inchers, a 7 and 8 incher, a 21 incher, and then these two sizes. I think this one's a 7 and this one's 5.5. 2 of these 90s, 2 of these straight through, 2 of these 90s. That's your PCV, I think. I don't know. Anyways, it's a one-way valve, I think. There's your T, and there's your little 1/4 inch. And then your O-ring, which they just put on dry. Okay. 2 of those, 2 of those, 2 of those. First step's pretty easy. Just take your this. Take your this. Luckily, it hasn't been out in my garage getting frozen. And just slap that baby in there. No big deal. And then you're going to take the small 1/4 inch and thread that puppy into the side, making sure that it points up. There's a brand called Blue Monster. They use it in their video, and I use it on my plumbing. This stuff's pretty legit, but I use this kind. It's good stuff. Works good on water pipes. They even have a compound, a putty, which I'll use on that stuff. But when it comes to this, little 3 wraps on that baby, I'm going to screw it into there. So that's all in. The only thing I would recommend is don't grab it by this nip and twist it because you'll snap it off. Make sure you use a wrench on that. The next one is just to take the check ball one literally there's a ball on the inside. Man, aim it towards the camera right there. You see it? That moves around. And then you just got to thread in these two guys with the threads onto it. And angle it as they say angle it, whatever that means. So they have a picture that has this baby set up like this, and the top one kind of angled. Here, let me just pick this dang phone up. On this one, they have it pictured so that the top one points a little cockeyed that way, and this one points a little bit cocked that way on there. So we'll go ahead and get these wrapped and installed on there, and then this baby should be ready. We are all set up. I didn't drive them home any more than that just because they're tapered to create a compression fitting. And I had to undo this one and wrap it again because I reached the end of the road and wasn't facing the right way. So this gets bolted onto here as far as this picture is shown. So you're going to have the 90-degree fitting sitting this way, it looks like, with those bolts. So let's go ahead and get that thing lit up. Right, so that's installed now on there at that angle. Next, you take the rubber ones, and you're going to take the longer of the two, which is the 7, this is the 5.5, just like depicted here. You're going to take your PCV valve, is what they're saying this is. Camera's not focusing that well on it. And then there's an arrow, they say, on this thing. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Right there. And have that pointed to the longer one, which is this. Install that. Use these clamps on it. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, we're together there. Next one's to go and do this. 7's a long 21-incher. And then they have 2 6s, which are 2 of those 3-inch stubbers with just a 90 and a straight through. And these straight throughs have a larger and a smaller. The 21-inch hole is a tighter hole. These stubby ones are wider, so that's just how you know which way to have those face. And then on the straight through, there's no clamps. The 90, there's no clamps. There's just going to be a clamp on the end of the stub where it goes and connects to the actual vacuum and PCV stuff. Cool, we got that one together. The other setup has the T in it, 9 and 8. 9's the 8-inch one, and 8 is the 7-inch one with the T in there, so we'll go ahead and make this one. Cool. We got this baby together with the T fitting on here. Now the next step says connect it. It doesn't say which end. Now the picture shows this is a long end and short might be perspective, so I went to the video, and they do say to connect the long end, which has the PCV valve facing, so the arrow would be pointing towards your T end because it's pointed towards the long end. So just butt that baby up. We already did this step, and we'll get into the next one here in a moment. Let's get into the next step, which is going ahead and getting that replaced in there. So we got to remove the 2 bolts on the throttle body that are on the driver's side that are both 8 millis. And then we torque them back down once we're ready, down to 5 foot-pounds, which you have to use an inch-pound wrench to do that, which there's 12 inches in a foot, 5 times 12, 60 inch-pounds. The reason why that's so light, too, is because it's going into this plastic housing, man. So that'll get tore up if we do it the wrong way. And this one's pointing down. We're going to run one down here and hook it up to that. And then the other one's going to go from the filler neck that's right here to the T section that goes to the little midget PCV valve. Oh, sorry, I can't say that. To the mini PCV valve. All right, hopefully you can see that better. Right back there, it's caught on that, so that way this can't spin back off. So I think I'm going to have to twist it a little bit, kick that up, and see if I can unspin it. The instructions say that's oftentimes going to break off. We'll see. You know what I mean? Hopefully this thing is so good I would never want to go back to normal. Well, I forgot. I might have had better luck because I just replaced this motor 2 years ago. But as it sits in there, you would twist it back in. But all I did was I took the screwdriver through this area, and then I just twisted it to pry up on it. So instead of getting it up and around, I just twisted it to lift it up so that that little tab lifted up and I can unspin this off. So this baby's still good to go if I ever hate this. The warranty's over on this, which is why it's so easy for me to go ahead and make this change. I made my 5 3/4 mark on this where you have to cut this back one out and start merging everything in. So I'll go ahead and get that cut. They used a sprinkler line cutter when they did it to get it straight, but we'll see what I have available. Well, we got this thing twisted on. I used some channies, some big old channies to get it on there, but set this down this way, and I had to pull the vacuum hose off to go ahead and get a nice little access because it was kind of in the way for that nipple. But now we'll thread the old baby back on there. You take that off when you remove the old valve cover. Not the valve cover, is it? Yeah, it's the valve cover off. So there we go. We got that popping on out of there. They want you to start routing old hose in here. Taking the straight tube from that part where you cut it off, route it under that, and then slam jam that baby right here. Thank you, ma'am. So I'll route that. And then you take the old T-splitter. Thank you very much, T-splitter. Like this. And go stubbed in to that, come underneath. And that baby goes into, let's make sure I'm looking at that stupid thing right. Goes into the end here. Goes into this boy. And then the stub off goes up into there. So I'll get those routed. I'll show you what I ended up doing. Make sure it's right. And then we're going to call it, yeah, baby. All right, y'all. Here's the pretty much finished product. So the T-fitting right here, ending up in the PCV valve hose going down to that. Straight up was right. Be careful because that's such a small nipple to slide that on. And then the other part of the one with the T-fitting went on here, and it showed me to have it pointed that way. I pointed it more straight down to get around because this hose has got to be in there too. This one was fine, hopped it in there, but when they have you cut this off, right, they have you measure it. I would just cut it right where this bend stops right here, straight there. And the reason why is you're into the turn right here with going over this. I would rather have a little bit more sticking through straight down the tube and cover it up, and that'll be fine. This one, I cut off, one of them was a bit long, ended up being this one. I cut a 1/2 inch off, so I cut this down to about 2 3/4, but 2 1/2 would have been fine. And the reason why is so I can tuck it inside of this vacuum hose without it pushing this off. Because before, it was pushing that baby off. Suck. Looks like I tore on that a little bit, so I'll have to take a look and see what's what on that, because it's cold out. You keep pulling that crap on and off. Hopefully I don't have a vacuum leak now, but anyways, I'll zip tie it in. It's just these two hoses going to this and going to the new filler. I'm gonna plug everything back in, get it started, make sure I don't have any vacuum leaks. I just stepped up into my office so that way I can go ahead and put this video together and get it up. But just kind of interested to see what your guys' thoughts are. Have any of you guys used this? I haven't really heard much buzz around it, at least in the small groups that I'm in. Kind of figured if this thing was really working, or if it had gotten around enough, I mean, who wouldn't want to, for a minimal amount, stop the smoking and potential damage on their motor? But we'll see. I mean, I'll post some stuff up on social if it starts smoking again and whatnot pretty easily. Mine doesn't smoke super easily, but it does when it's on an incline for sure, especially if it's on an incline for a bit, right? Which is what I would really love, is the opportunity to kind of work more on the obstacle without smoking myself out, because it can get thick. So let me know what you guys think. Is this something that you have installed, would installed, have any questions about? I'd be happy to try to answer it as best as I can, but Hope to see you guys out there at Winter Jam.